Welcome back. We're getting some breaking news and some unfortunate news as far as Team India is concerned. Jasprit Bumrah, India's pace spearhead, has been ruled out of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup, which is due to begin in Australia in a couple of weeks from now. The BCCI medical team has ruled out Team India fast bowler Jasprit Bumrah from taking part in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup. Shivani is now joining us with more details on this. So, Shivani, how big a blow is this for Team India's chances at the World Cup, particularly given our recent woes around death bowling?
Absolutely, Zakka. This is indeed a very, very big setback for the Indian team. Jasprit Bumrah, one doesn't need to elaborate on how important he is as far as India's bowling lineup is concerned. He's the spearhead of the pace attack. He's a marquee bowler, someone, who most batsmen around the world will be very careful against. So losing him will make the Indian bowling lineup fairly ordinary, given by recent performances in the T20 series against both Australia earlier and South Africa currently. The other day we leaked over 200 runs after scoring big. And before that in the Asia Cup as well. So this is going to be a huge setback. We don't know just yet exactly who's the replacement for him. The BCCI hasn't quite announced him. The replacement as they, confirmed the fact that Jasprit Bumrah is going to be out due to a back injury. This was obviously known. This was something that, press agency PTI had earlier reported because he flew out to the NCA in Bangalore, but the BCCI waited for some of the tests, etc., to be conducted. And it is a second, back injury that Jasprit Bumrah is facing. He has been out earlier in 2019 with a similar issue, and it could well be that he's out for a few months, if not for several weeks. One amongst Mohammad Shami or Deepak Chahar could be drafted into the team because these are the two reserve pace bowlers in the reserve list that was announced for the World Cup. We are yet to know exactly which one is picked, but certainly a big setback, Zakka.
All right, we'll leave it at that, Shivani, there with more details of why this could be a debilitating blow for Team India's chances at the World Cup. Meanwhile, talking about blows, an explosion, a huge one, happened in a market in Trichy. It left one person dead and several injured. It was because of a helium tank which burst.
A helium cylinder exploded in Tamil Nadu's Tiruchirappalli, killing one person while around 24 people got injured. The explosion happened in a busy marketplace, and being a weekend, the area was crowded with people. The victim was identified as Mathu Ravi and was seen smoking right next to the cylinder, which led to the explosion. As per initial reports, the helium cylinder belonged to a person who was selling balloons in the area and is missing. The cops have collected CCTV visuals of the incident and have started an investigation.
One person died and several others were injured as a passenger bus fell into a roadside ditch in Udhampur in Jammu and Kashmir. The unfortunate accident happened in the wee hours this morning. The injured have been shifted to hospital where they are undergoing treatment right now. A film crew entering the premises of Gurudwara Panja Sahib without permission in Punjab province in Pakistan has outraged the Sikh community there. The crew was also seen wearing shoes while they were shooting inside the Gurudwara. BJP leader Manjinder Singh Sirsa sharing a video of the incident. This is back from the 29th of September earlier this year. He condemned the act and demanded that the Indian government take prompt action and raise this issue with the Pakistan government.
सारा स्टारकास्ट जूतियां दे अंदर दिखाई दे रहा। एक श्रद्धालु ने इसकी वीडियो बनाई, जिसने वीडियो बनाई वो वीडियो च कहता सुन रहा है कि आपको पता ही नहीं है ये सिक्की कैसे मिली है। लग रहा है कि वो भी मुसलमान है। 29 तरीक तो आदमी नहीं लभदा पिया। पुलिस प्रशासन ने शायद इस ते कार्रवाई करके उन्हें अंदर बंद कर दिता। और जिस गुरु घर के श्रद्धालु ने वीडियो बना के ये जनतक की लोगों ने जानकारी दी है, उसकी जान की राखी की जाए। पाकिस्तान की सरकार को तुरंत इन लोगों को फड़ के अरेस्ट करना चाहिए जिन्हें गुरु घर की बेअदबी की।
India got its first Made in India light combat helicopter, the LCH, today, and it was inducted into service by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh taking a sortie in newly inducted light combat helicopter Prachand. Dressed in flying gear, the Defence Minister climbed into the cockpit of the combat helicopter with his co-pilot. The induction of Prachand choppers into the Air Force is a big boost to its combat prowess. These choppers are capable of flying at very high altitudes and armed with a range of missiles. The Defence Minister said the helicopter will be able to fly at 1,000 kilometers per hour. The helicopter will be able to fly at 1,000 kilometers per hour. The helicopter will be able to fly at 1,000 kilometers per hour. The helicopter will be able to fly at 1,000 kilometers per hour. The helicopter will be able to fly at 1,000 kilometers per hour. The helicopter will be able to fly at 1,000 kilometers per hour. The helicopter will be able to fly at 1,000 kilometers per hour. The helicopter will be able to fly at 1,000 kilometers per hour. The helicopter will be able to fly at 1,000 kilometers per hour. The helicopter will be able to fly at 1,000 kilometers per hour. The helicopter will be able to fly at 1,000 kilometers per hour. The helicopter will be able to fly at 1,000 kilometers per hour. The helicopter will be able to fly at 1,000 kilometers per hour. The helicop The LCH has a number of stealth features, armoured protection systems, night attack capability and crash-worthy landing gear for better survivability. The helicopter has been tested in the Ladakh region where India faces the threat of Chinese incursions. Developed by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, the Prachand helicopter will be the bedrock of the country's combat helicopter formations. 95 of these choppers will go to the Indian Army and almost 65 to the Air Force.
All right, let me tell you a little bit more about these light combat helicopters. They're twin-engine. They've been designed and developed by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. They can target the enemy from a distance of about 2 kilometers. And the great advantage of the LCH is that it can take off and land at an altitude of 5,000 meters. Armed with 20 MV nose gun as well as 70 mm rockets, it has air-to-air missile capabilities as well, which can intercept up to 6.5 kilometers. It can fly for more than 3 hours without stopping at one stretch. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has arrived in Jammu and Kashmir for his 3-day visit to the Union Territory. Security has been beefed up across Jammu and Kashmir in view of the Home Minister's visit. He will be visiting the Mata Vaishno Devi temple tomorrow at 10 a.m. and then will hold a mega rally in Rajouri right after that. Congress interim President Sonia Gandhi today arrived in Mysuru. She's scheduled to join the Bharat Jodo Yatra led by Congress leader Rahul Gandhi on the 6th of October, a day after Dashera. Currently passing through BJP-ruled Karnataka, the Yatra is in its second stage and it's set to move with its 125 designated Yatris from Mysuru this Thursday. The wall of a multi-story building collapsed in Gurugram, killing 2 labourers.
2 labourers died and another was injured after the wall of a multi-story building collapsed in Udyog Vihar Phase 1 area of Gurugram. The incident happened in the morning when labourers were carrying out demolition work of an old factory. The wall suddenly came crumbling, leaving the labourers trapped under the rubble. 2 floors of the 3-story building have been demolished already. Police and fire department soon reached the spot, while the State Disaster Response Force and the National Disaster Response Force was also called in. Rescue operations were called off around 11 a.m.
A 7-year-old child died during treatment after getting critically injured in an e-scooter blast in Vasai in Mumbai. A case has been registered and further investigation has been initiated by the Manikpur police station. Thousands of farmers gathered to mark the Lakhimpur violence anniversary in Tikonia in Uttar Pradesh. Farmer leader Rakesh Tiket was in attendance at the event. Heavy police was also deployed for security arrangements. A total of 8 people, including a journalist, 4 farmers, were killed on the 3rd of October 2021 in Lakhimpur Kheri. A massive fire broke out at a Durga Puja Pandal in Uttar Pradesh's Bhadohi.
3 kids and 2 women died while 64 others were injured after a fire broke out in a Durga Puja Pandal in Uttar Pradesh's Bhadohi district. Incident occurred during the Aarti ritual on the 7th day of the Navratri festival. Around 150 persons were present inside the Pandal when the blaze broke out. Firefighters rushed to the spot and rescued the injured. The injured, mostly children and women, are currently undergoing treatment at various hospitals. As per the doctors, at least 5 of them are in critical condition. Preliminary reports suggest that the incident happened due to a short circuit.
Authorities in Delhi were put on high alert this morning after inputs were received about the possibility of a bomb on board an Iranian passenger flight while it was in Indian airspace. The Mahan Air flight reportedly sought permission to land in Delhi. After the plane was landed safely in Guangzhou, hours later, Mahan Airlines issued a statement saying that reports of a bomb on board the flight were fake and that the flight was completely safe. The carrier says it seems that the design of such reports was aimed at disturbing security. As the Russian invasion of Ukraine enters its 8th month, an opera house in Kharkiv, which was hit and destroyed by a missile, has now been converted into a memorial of sorts.
This year behind is a memorial to those who died fighting and to those still fighting for Ukraine, fighting bloody battles and very difficult battles. And beneath that memorial, all around it, the sandbags and the flowers between them say just about everything that needs to be said about Kharkiv today.
Not many people walk by these flowers anymore or stop to look at them. Most people who lived around them have left. No tourist steps by to set eyes on them. But quite obviously, a lot of Kharkiv's gardeners have not left, and they are no more immune to missiles than anyone else.
The USS Gerald R. Ford is ready to set sail. It is the most expensive warship in the world right now. It was procured at an estimated cost of $13 billion. It was inducted into the US Navy's Tukwar fleet back in 2017. It uses electromagnetic systems for launching planes. It is named after the 38th President of the United States, Gerald R. Ford. The Buckingham Palace has unveiled a new portrait of the royal family. King Charles and Queen Consort Camilla are pictured posing at the palace together in their black mourning attire the night before the Queen's funeral. The photograph will now adorn the walls of the palace amid several other historic portraits. Massive cleanup drives have begun in parts of Florida after the state was battered by Hurricane Ian, described as one of the largest natural disasters in Florida's history. At least 67 people died, and officials fear that that number could rise further. Several residents in areas are still dealing with the ramifications of the flood. What started off with the death of one woman in Iran, the anti-hijab protests are now intensifying across the globe.
The protests against hijab goes on. Dozens of protesters gathered in Beirut, Lebanon to show support for women's rights in Iran. The protests erupted after a 22-year-old woman died while being held by country's morality police. The demonstrators criticized the Iranian government. Some also waved headscarves similar to those of Iranian women. Similar protests were also seen in French capital of Paris. Thousands of people marched to show their support for Iranian protesters. Several female demonstrators cut off chunks of their hair and tossed them into air as a gesture of liberation. French feminist groups and leading politicians were among those who took part in the protests. Meanwhile, in Iran, over 90 women have lost their lives during protests. In the past 2 weeks, women rights activists have reported the killings of several people, including some security personnel, as government cracks down violently on mostly peaceful nationwide protests.
The Aphar Wat Mountains in the Pir Panjal range of Gulmarg received this season's first snowfall. Following the change of weather, several ski resorts located in Baramulla and North Kashmir have rejoiced at the opening of this year's business with the onset of snowfall. The snowfall is the sign of the beginning of winter in the valley. All right, Mario Shakil joining you with News Epicenter now.